And we're live.
Hi everyone, time for yet another Levitum Knot. This is the 8th one. In case it's the 7th and 9th, then you have to understand I'm also surviving a life with kids. So I'm probably getting a little old, my memory's getting a little blunt. So I'll stick with 8th for now. And the topic is, Vinu says, activities for kids. It reads more like surviving kids, surviving life with kids, or activities with kids, and multiple interpretations. So I'll let Vinu take it away. It's all about life with little ones around. Lots of fun, but I'm sure it's a lot more than that. Vinu? All over to you.
Hey Vinu, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think I'm mute. Sorry. So for the past 2 years with the folks at Levitum, one of the challenges I had was whenever I work from home, how do you keep kids occupied so that they don't pester you every 2 minutes to go get them things to do? And this is basically some of the things, at least we try to do to keep them occupied for a while so that they are off our backs and we can continue doing work. And if you look at what our usual suspects are, you have the TV, the iPads, and the phones lying around, their toys, and there are quite a few other activities we have to kind of keep them occupied. Now, the problem with TV is you get them to choose their own shows. They end up watching mindless programs like Chota Beam and all kinds of other shows which seriously doesn't make sense for them to be watching right now. So what we tried to do for them was to minimize the kind of regular programming and kind of look at more informative and informative programs to kind of watch on TV, and at the same time to kind of keep them occupied and interested in them as well, because the problem with kids these days are they have a very low attention span. So if they don't like what they're watching, they pretty much want to change the channel right now. So some of the shows we kind of got them to start off with were Dora the Explorer. The good thing about Dora is it's got a lot of puzzles, and it's a little interactive where Dora actually prompts the kids to tell the right answers on which are pointed on screen. So the kids actually use their mind while they're watching it, so that they're not just mindlessly watching, staring at the TV as such. Another show I kind of liked them to watch was Sesame Street. The problem is we don't get this show right now aired in India. So I end up kind of scouring the internet and YouTube to kind of get Sesame Street videos. The Sesame Street videos are actually pretty good because they have a lot of learning component in them. For example, for the preschoolers, they have counting, alphabets, and language, which helps them build up their skills on that on those levels. And at the same time, you have those great characters, which helps keep the kids engaged with the show. And there's a lot of songs and music, so the kids pretty much love watching Sesame Street videos right now. Another show we kind of encourage the kids to watch is Mr. Maker. I think a few months back we had BBC's kids channel called CBBS on air. So Mr. Maker's show used to come on that. Unfortunately, that channel got pulled off air, and now the same show comes up on Discovery. And basically, that show is more about arts and crafts and kind of projects to do which the kids could kind of follow on and kind of uh, do a lot of arts projects, which was pretty good. And on the Disney Channel, the kids also love watching Mickey Mouse. So they have a show called Mickey Mouse Clubhouse where they have a lot of puzzle solving, which is actually pretty good. And the kids love kind of waiting for the next episode to come to kind of see what else they can solve there. And one of the things I kind of do is, apart from just the regular TV channels, look up the internet for a lot of these videos which the kids might be interested in watching, and have them accessible on the TV via network hard drive, so you don't have to keep wasting bandwidth every time they want to watch that video. Lavanya, any thoughts about what you do to kind of keep Girish engaged while watching? I mean, what kind of TV shows do you let Girish watch?
A lot of the similar ones, Vinu. I think we had a similar kind of thinking behind as well, right? Instead of mindlessly watching Chota Bheem, I think Dora's really good. Girish, even though he's 6 now, still likes to watch Dora whenever it comes. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse was very engaged him a lot when he was a lot younger, right? So it used to come, I think, at 7:30 or 8 in the morning. So that used to be his breakfast time, and so it was always Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and breakfast together. So that formula worked quite well when he was in play school, and so he's outgrown that a little bit. But these days, what we do is now it's come to a point where these things deal with puzzles and all of that, right? And these are episodic. But now, what I've been experimenting with is a little more coherence in storyline and, questions, choices, conflicts, and things like that. So I'm trying to get him to watch a lot of animation movies these days, and I find it helps because earlier he would lose interest in stories that were longer, and wouldn't be very interested in following through the storyline. But he actually got hooked on Lion King. So after that, it was easier to introduce him to good animation movies and walk through the storyline, ask him questions, and generally discuss the story. So we are a little into animation movies these days.
Ah, that's good, because I think Leanne will soon kind of get into that age group.
Right.
That's good for us to follow with Leanne as well.
Right. It's interesting because they keep replaying it, right? And I never realized you like Lion King because even though it came 20 years ago, but the attention to detail, the kind of dialogues and the kind of questions kids ask you feel that it's great for even adults to watch animation movies. So
yeah, I watch a lot of them as well. So.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes the kids really surprise you because once I think we're standing near the door and I was kind of delaying opening the door. So Leanne comes and says, "Abre, abre." I was like, what is he? Don't you know abre is Spanish for open?
Yeah, and one of the things, talking about Dora, right? It was interesting because Dora's a girl and, Girish being a boy and all that. It was very interesting how his classmates started asking him, "But why aren't you watching Diego? Why are you watching Dora?" There was that kind of a gender matching. I don't know whether kids sort of got it from their parents, but then Girish was very puzzled. He said, "Why can't I watch Dora? So what if I'm a boy? I like watching Dora." So it's also that there's programming, gender-based programming that's introduced quite early because Diego does a lot of the same things that Dora does, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, I somehow feel Dora's a lot more interesting.
So, apart from TV, because right now we have a kind of a restriction on how much TV they can watch, so that doesn't keep them occupied for too long. Moving on, basically now we have the phones and the tablets. So. The phones and tablets are very useful to keep these kids occupied just because they can spend hours on it, even though we don't let them spend hours. But there are tons of apps and things you can kind of use to keep them occupied through the day. And even when you're going out, the kids get pretty cranky when we go to places where they don't have much to do. So a good app on the phone keeps them preoccupied during that time. The Some of the tablet apps which the kids pretty much keep going back for are the ones I kind of listed here. First thing is YouTube. Now, apart from TV, they watch a lot of YouTube videos. So we kind of allow them to have supervised viewing time of YouTube on the tablet. So they have their favorite, like Sesame Street, I told you about. They kind of like watching that on YouTube. They like to follow Mr. Bean and his antics also on YouTube there. Apart from that, I think some of the apps which kind of helped Leanne and Eileen learn the Sesame Street apps. The one they loved was Elmo Loves ABC, because that was a really interactive app where, apart from learning just the alphabets, they had to kind of write down the alphabets on the tablet to kind of pass to the next level to access content under that. So using that, I think Leanne learned writing at least a few of the alphabets way before she even went to play school. Because one day she just asked for a piece of paper and to draw. And after a few minutes, when I went to look at what she was drawing, she was actually writing the alphabets on the paper. So I asked her, from where did you learn this? She's like, oh, Elmo's iPad app taught me how to write. And apart from that, you have the usual list of games like Cut the Rope, Angry Birds, which are good because they kind of help the kids with puzzle solving and keeps their brain a little active. A recent app which I've come across was Zoodles. That's a pretty good app which is available on both the iPhone, iPad, and the Android devices. It pretty much allows you to create profiles for your kids along with their age and photos, so that when you open the app, the kids can choose which profile to go into based on their photos. And once they're in the app, you can the app helps them find kid-friendly content, whether it's videos or other apps, and helps them build various skill sets like alphabets, counting, and a few other aspects of learning. The best part about it is it actually sends you a weekly report on what your kids are doing and how they're improving in various aspects of the learning matter. And that kind of gives you an insight on how good they are with numbers or language and other subject matters. If your kids are preschool and basically before the first standard, this is a recommended app which you have to install on your devices to kind of give your kids access to. One of the things I learned earlier on was you have to check whether your in-app purchase option is enabled on your devices, because otherwise you have these really sneaky kids apps which pop up an in-app purchase prompt with nice colorful buttons, and the kids invariably end up pressing that, and you end up with a big credit card bill at the end of the month. So keep a check on the in-app purchase options before you give your devices to kids. And I think one thing to keep in mind is to limit the usage of gadgets, because what we noticed earlier on, at least with Leanne, was the more she kind of used it, if she used it for more than an hour a day, she kind of became a little reclusive, in the sense she'd rather just sit at home and sit on the tablet. So we kind of started limiting the amount of time they spend on these devices as well, to maybe about half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening, to keep them at least in a better shape. Lavanya, you have any tips on any other apps which Girish likes?
Sure, Vinu. There are a lot of also math and alphabet apps, right? Like Leanne, Girish also learned the alphabet using an iPad app. So a couple of apps that we used. I think one of them was the Montessorium. Montessorium has a whole bunch of very good apps for kids. I think one of them was their ABC app, but it was nice because you could trace the alphabet, and
yeah.
so I mean, there's nice. It presents it in a very colorful manner, and so you just have to trace it along, and kids figure it out themselves. So with very minimal supervision, he sort of learned it on his own. So much before, like you said, much before he went to play school, he could read, and he could even, in fact, string together letters and actually read three-letter words and all that before he went to play school. So the without these iPad apps, it definitely wouldn't have helped him, engaged him, and also made him learn and become curious. So the Montessori apps are pretty good. And we also watched a lot of nursery rhymes, like you said, right? There are so many YouTube channels with nursery rhymes and things to say and stories and things like that. So we used to subscribe to quite a few YouTube channels and watch them. Now we don't watch that much of nursery rhymes, but one of the apps we're playing these days is it's Play, but we are both fond of Hay. So we're trying to build our own farm. So we've disabled in-app purchases, so you have to play the free version. And so every night, Girish and I have this competition where we play for 10-15 minutes. So he has a farm and I have a farm. So we try to grow things in our farm and we try to sell them, and but it's a means of so these are the things you have to sow and harvest. This is what you have to use to manage feeds for your animals if you're going to look after them. And then how do you convert your produce? How do you sell them? How do you make money? So it's very interesting to use the app to teach a lot of these little things to Girish. And he's sort of become curious about, managing things, and he understands feeds because they're doing plants and animals in school as well. So it's quite useful to use the game to try and teach him some of these concepts. So
yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty cool because, of course, my parents would tell, don't give the kids
absolutely
tablets. But then these kids actually learn a lot more on the tablets and a lot faster.
No, that's very true because it seems a little mindless, I guess. My parents and all the other elders have a similar opinion. But I think it's, like you're saying, it's vital that we restrict the time. Too much of a single slot in front of the iPad, he zones out and becomes a little fatigued. I think half an hour works very well. In fact, triggers a lot of questions and they learn so much.
Yeah. It's really, that's true because anything, including TV, has to be kind of limited in how much time they spend on it. Otherwise, it just kind of leads them into other problems later on.
Right. And given that the apps are more interactive, right? I think it's probably quite handy.
True. Cool. So let's move forward. Now we have toys because once they finish with their TV and the tablets, they still have a lot more time to spend at home. So these are some of the things the kids actually love playing with. At the top of the list is basically building blocks, farm set, and cars because they all cars and trains basically. It all goes hand in hand because they start building train stations and farmhouses and all kinds of stuff, and they pretty much build their own little town there. And they can spend hours on this. They can just sit playing for making a lot of stuff, breaking it up and making it up again. So this actually is one of the better things the kids love playing at home here. Apart from that, we also kind of bought a blackboard with and chalk and a magic slate. So the kids kind of pretty much love drawing stuff on it and kind of erasing it and redrawing it. Some of the other things which keep them occupied are simple board games like Snake and Ladders, where the rules are not so complicated, but it kind of gives them something to compete with each other without really fighting and pulling their hair out. The board games basically uh, keep them occupied, but that's only till the competitive spirit kicks in and the fights start. Then both of them actually love putting together puzzles, because I think Leanne started the trend because one day she got a gift from someone. It was a simple, I think, 15-piece puzzle, and she started she started playing with that every day, kind of putting it together, breaking it out, putting it together, looking at that. Eileen also kind of started getting hooked onto it, and now I think we've got at least about 5 boxes of puzzle pieces there, which they kind of use on and off to play with. And of course, both are girls, so they have to have their kitchen sets and dolls to play with. And over time, the toys kind of start accumulating. So the problem is when they keep seeing the same toys again and again, they kind of get bored. So what we do is kind of take one set of toys, put them in a box, keep it on top, and don't take it out for a month. And a month later, when you bring it down, they're all excited as if it's a whole new set of toys they're playing with. And then the current set kind of gets into a box and goes back up. So it kind of helps helps keep them interested in the toys without getting bored of it. So if you have tons of toys, this is one of the tips you need to do. I mean, just hide a whole bunch of them and take them out a month later, and the kids love it just because it's as if they have a whole new set of toys and they're excited for another month with those.
That's pretty cool, actually. I remember something like this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I can remember how much fun it was finding things that you hadn't played in a while.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, you have everything down, the kids just get bored of the entire thing. Oh, we don't want to see this. It's old toys. Get us some new toys. So when the thing about new toys comes, okay, down comes the box with the older toys. And, okay, one of the other things they love playing, which I didn't kind of add here, was Play-Doh, clay. So they love kind of making shapes and covering things with clay. The only problem with the Play-Doh clay is after a while it starts becoming bits and pieces and it's all over the house. And the first thing is the cleanup is a mess. And the other thing is they lose the amount of clay they have and the balls just keep becoming smaller. So off late, what we tried doing was instead of going out and buying a whole set of other new Play-Doh boxes, we just started taking the dough we use for making chapatis and add food coloring to them. So they look like Play-Doh. They play with it, and after they finish with it, basically just throw it out, and you can make a fresh batch the next day.
That's very interesting.
It's cheaper than buying actual Play-Doh, and it's much clean. I mean, in the sense, cleanup is not a mess like Play-Doh when it's actually a little older.
Nice.
Absolutely, we all gravitate to chapati dough with food coloring at some point. Because they also start popping these things into their mouth sometimes, so...
Yeah, true. So it's better they put chapati dough in their mouth than all those chemicals in the Play-Doh. And apart from toys, I mean, we kind of get them to actually draw and color a lot because the kids actually love it because they kind of get to draw shapes and color it. So all you need is a bunch of colors, paper, and a lot of patience because if they're drawing things on their own, every little shape they draw, they'll have to come to you and get your certification. Yes, it's excellent. And then they go color the same thing and come back, show it to you again. You need to kind of encourage them. So what happens is, even though they kind of get occupied with this task a lot, but the flip side is they keep coming back to you with every small shape they've drawn, and you need to kind of keep encouraging them. So another option I found was basically go online get out drawings which are ready-made to be colored. So all they need to do is just take a bunch of colors and start coloring the entire picture. So there are two of these links. One is from Crayola itself, the site has a whole bunch of pre-made drawings ready. All you need to do is go there, print it out, and give it to the kids to color it out. So once they don't have to draw a lot, they kind of spend a long time coloring each one of these components on the paper and bring it back to you. Then again, as I said, Mr. Maker is a great program which we kind of follow just to kind of get ideas on what craft projects we can do for the week. It's a lot of fun because the kids love coloring using their kid-safe scissors to cut out shapes out of the paper, sticking them together, and each one of these projects kind of keep them occupied for at least half an hour to 45 minutes. So that's basically time you can use to finish your work or do anything else you need to do. And at home, we kind of keep a goal of at least 1 or 2 projects per week, at least for them to do, so that they kind of learn how to make new stuff. And a product I think I came across recently was this Yoo-Hoo box. It's an excellent set of craft projects which come on a subscription basis. So you can subscribe for a year, and what they do is every month they send you a box with 4 activities which you can do over a weekend. And at least the first box which we ordered came with build your own board games. So you could basically just take the board game there. The kids need to stick stuff onto the board for the colors on the tiles there, and they had to color in all the white spaces. So basically, the kids felt happy about it because they made their own board game and they started playing with their own board game. So it is a better thrill than a snake and ladder game just because they actually built that board game. Apart from that, there was bowling. So you had these set of owls there, which they needed to put stickers on and color them, and then stand them up and then put them at the end of the table and take a ball and knock them out. So the kids really love this. So if you have preschoolers and kids between the age of 3 and 6, this is an excellent service to subscribe to because it kind of gets you ready-made ideas right out of the box. One of the other activities we have is reading. Even though this doesn't free up your time, you actually spend more time with the kids here. It's a necessary item because it kind of helps them build their vocabulary, and it helps them assimilate ideas out of books and things like that. Because reading is I think most child psychologists would say reading is one of the most important things they have to kind of pick up. So to Eileen, who can't yet read, we actually kind of read to her at times during the day whenever she's bored. And with Leanne, what we do is we kind of try to find books where you have the stories kind of laid out in easy words, which are like 3 to 4 letter words, so that she can pick up reading. And she likes sitting and reading the stories just because she can do it on her own without any help. So what we've done now is kind of helped Leanne start reading this so that she can sit and read to Eileen. And you should see some of the conversations which come out of the stories, because Leanne understands what she's reading, but she sometimes doesn't get the concepts. So what happens is Eileen asks, okay, what about this? And then Leanne will make a whole new story around that to kind of answer Eileen's story. So it kind of helps the imagination as well there. So this is one important activity which we kind of make sure the kids do at least a few times a week, if not every day. And if
So
you need help in the kitchen,
storytelling that you do every night, Vinu?
sorry, Lavanya, I didn't get
Do
that.
you also do some kind of storytelling every night, sleep time or something?
We tried that. The problem is the kids kind of didn't want that every day. So
Right.
it depends on the kids, because if they don't want it, they don't want it. You can't
Correct.
force it on them.
So, I mean, what is the wind down like?
The wind down right now is pretty easy, because they pretty much stop sleeping in the afternoon, so they pretty much bush by the night. So you give them dinner, kind of get them to just play around for a few minutes, maybe or 10-15 minutes after that, and then we put them to bed, and they knocked out. So earlier, when they used to sleep in the afternoons, was when they were pretty restless at nights.
Right. Right.
And now, especially, Leanne kind of has to wake up at 6:30 in the morning to kind of get ready to go to school. So she just sleeps through. I mean, she just hits the. I mean, she just falls asleep as soon as she hits the bed these days. And kids love helping out at home, so we also get them to help us when we're cooking as well. So what we did was we got them kid-safe plastic knives, and earlier we used to give them plates to cut it in, but we got them light cutting boards as well. So we give them soft things to cut, like mushrooms and potatoes and paneer and things like that. So they kind of have the accomplishment that they've actually helped us cook the dish. So once in a while, we also get them to make fruit salad for dessert. So they can cut the softer fruits like bananas and peel the oranges, make pieces of the oranges, and kind of mix the entire thing in a bowl and have dessert ready for us. One tip here is wherever they're cutting and cooking, cover the floor with paper. Otherwise, you get all kinds of stuff all over the place. So to kind of ease up our cleanup, we just put paper all over the place or plastic around the place, and then once you're done, just roll it up and throw it up, and the floors are back to clean. So, Lavanya, does Girish help and stuff like this at home?
Yeah, he does. So he's now graduated to rolling out the dough, chapati dough. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so we get it in all sorts of shapes. So he stands next to me and tries to monitor it. So I make sure I put it on the tawa, but he rolls it out, and then he also serves. So he takes it to the dining table, moves dishes around, and tries to carry little cups and helps, and also helps with cleaning these days. So I'm capitalizing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much while it lasts, make full use of it. Yeah, even I think Leanne doesn't like the cleaning up bit, but Eileen does. So she likes kind of playing with water. So if you give her some things to wash, she's happy.
Yeah, so Giri just also likes filling up bottles with water. So these days he's got very steady hands. So spillage has definitely reduced, and so he fills the water bottles with water and tries to help with all these little things. So seems like a good face now.
Yeah. Cool. So I mean, the problem is thinking up activities on the spot. For us is a little tough because you want to get your work done. You're trying to keep the kids occupied, and at the same time you can't think up of ideas. So what we try to do is kind of keep a rough weekly schedule or timetable of what we'd like the kids to do throughout the week. So at least when you have to think of ideas, we just look it up and kind of get the kids to do that activity if they like it. The problem otherwise is kind of when you're in a hurry to finish work and the kids are sitting around you trying to figure out what to do. It's a little tough kind of coming up with ideas to do. And again, change is important. If you follow the same schedule every day, the kids are going to get bored. So we try to mix and match a lot of other stuff as well. And last but not least, I mean, we have to take them out because outdoor activities also, I mean, are important for the kids. So we try to find fun things for them to do every weekend. So indoor activities don't help kind of get you the amount of running and fun they get when they're outdoors and they're doing all other kinds of stuff. So get them out because just sitting at home is not healthy. And that about concludes what we have. I mean, what Susan and I kind of have for keeping kids occupied throughout the day. So, you guys have any other tips and tricks we could incorporate in our schedule? Please let us know.
What about playing with friends, Vinu? Where does that fit into the playing with their friends?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, I mean, they don't have many friends close by here.
Right.
So we kind of have. I mean, we have a neighbor upstairs who goes to the same school as Leanne. So she kind of comes down and plays with them for maybe half an hour and an hour a day.
Right.
So, I mean, these are activities apart from all that.
Correct. No, because I think one of the practical problems that we also encounter is, playing with other kids on a regular basis, right? Just unstructured play.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to schedule time because, I guess everybody is busy. They have classes and other activities, so this unstructured playing time is a little difficult to plan, actually.
True. So I mean, that's what we're trying to do to kind of get them to do at least meet up with their friends at least. If not, I mean, weekdays are pretty much out because most of these kids are busy. So kind of have their friends come over or they go to their friend's house at least one day of the weekend as such.
Right.
Because otherwise everyone seems to be busy these days, especially the parents.
Yeah. No, I think at least in the last year, right, from standard, we saw that bit of a change. The kids sort of started playing a lot more together. So earlier it used to be just parallel play, right, until they're 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So now they actually start to sit and play with each other. So we have a bunch of mothers. So sometimes we sort of plan these meets for kids and get them and either do lunch or something like that, and then just let them play for a bit. So it frees up the other parents to get some errands done or something like that. But it's a little difficult to schedule and coordinate. But I think once they're past 5 or something, it's a lot easier. They can spend a couple of hours together without eating each other's brains off. So.
Yeah, because I think till they're around 3 or 4, it's a little. I mean, at least with both Leanne and Eileen, Leanne till she was about 4, she kind of didn't like going out with other people. So it's only this year she's kind of breaking out of that mold and she's kind of interacting with other kids as well.
Right.
So Eileen is now in that stage where she'd just rather have Leanne with her, but she doesn't want to kind of play with other kids unless she knows them very well.
Right.
So I think even she needs to kind of get out of that clingy stage as such.
Right.
Well, that's about all I had for this knot. So if you all have any other ideas, you can kind of pitch them offline to me and Lavanya as well. I'm sure she's also interested as well.
And the interesting thing is, and you think you have it all figured out, right? You think, okay, I know how to handle a 4-year-old, and once you have your whole routine perfected and factored in change and all of that, your 4-year-old has actually graduated and moved on to the next phase.
Yeah, to the next phase.
And there you are, drawing board again, and you have to figure it all out. So That's
Yeah,
the
I
interesting
mean,
part.
yeah, that's a tough part, right? I mean, how do you kind of keep up with your kids?
Exactly. The entertainments that you figured out are all, become dated very soon. So,
Oh
yeah.
yes, which is what I mean. It's better to kind of figure out. I mean, let them be for a while and figure out what they need as well. So, and then kind of work out things based on what they like later on, because their likes and dislikes keep changing very fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, I think I have a whole new level of appreciation, Lavanya and Vinu, for how you guys juggle everything. And I think every time I see Vinu or you handling things late at night, it's I know thought after you put the kids to bed, or this has been, I think, super insightful in education, at least for me. I think some things might be obvious, but still all the thought that goes into it, right? It's amazing.
Super cool. Raj might be
Yeah.
right. Raj might be joining these activities in some time.
Taking notes, sharing with Rachna. So, yeah. Oops. We just scared him away.
We just sent him off there.
Hey, thanks, Vinu. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome session, guys.
Yeah. And Lavanya looked a little sleepy at the start, but she looks so charged and refreshed now. So.
Oh, nothing like sharing one's own perceived and actual woes.
Cool, guys. We'll wrap and catch up next week. So,
Yep, we'll catch up next week for next week's knot.
bye.
Thank you.
Enjoy.